All right. Another excellent headline, another excellent column from Lawrence Solomon from the Financial Post. Headline: No one worsens income equality like the government does. Oh, another good headline. Great headline, Lawrence. Loving it. Let's continue on, see what Lawrence has to say about big government. Many object to income inequality. They should instead object to governments who create it, as do ours. Exactly. Governments are the one that create the most income inequality, and you know this. Much, if not most, of the inequality in Canada as elsewhere comes courtesy of governments. If governments want to reduce income equality, as they should start by cleaning house. For starters, governments should apply their much touted principle of equal pay for equal work to their own employees. As numerous analysis of the Canadian workforce have shown, government workers get paid between 20 and 25% more in wages and benefits than their counterparts doing the same work in the private sector. In the case of federal civil servants, the top up is 33%. Moreover, public servants are granted job security and more secure pensions and other intangibles. So yeah, the government's supposed to be all about equality, but meanwhile, they're the ones that fucking benefit greatly at the expense of the Canadian taxpayers, the Canadian wage slaves that are forced to pay for it. It's not like Canadians choose voluntarily to prop up government. Government steals from them to prop them up, and they're not even willing to steal to keep it equitable. Government steal to keep them way more enriched than the average people that they steal from. So like I say, even the pretense of equality as far as public and private sector, as this gentleman is suggesting, yeah, that pretense. I mean, oh, equality, right? Equality? All right, let's see it. Let's see governments lead by example. You know that will never happen because they're a bunch of they go to work for government. Government. Look up the word. Like I said, like I keep telling people all the time, look up what it is. It's people that want to choose to be your rulers, right? It's people that believe that they have any pretense of authority over you or believe that they have authority to take from you without your permission. These kind of people, do you think that they're actually going to be the ones that are going to fucking stand up for what's right or what's moral or what's just or what's equitable in the honest, objective sense? It's like asking a thief, it's like putting a thief in a fucking jewelry store and say, okay, don't touch anything. How well do you think that's going to pan out, right? The result's probably not going to work out to be anything that you had hoped for. Next, government should apply the equal pay for work of equal value principle indirectly too, through the industries that they regulate. The federal government alone boasts of regulating 18,000 employers in everything from the air, sea, and rail transportation to financial industries. These employers, 900,000 employees, 6% of the workforce, also enjoy compensation beyond the reach of most employees in the unregulated free market economy. Those that don't function in government. And there's actually no free market, but I guess they mean the freer market, right? Because a free market would be, they'd be talking about the people in the black market, right? Because in the actual market, there's no free market. What, you don't pay taxes? You're not forced to have to fucking prop up the system, right? So you know there's no free market. Employees in sectors regulated by provinces and municipalities further mock the principle of equal pay for work of equal value. The best remunerated employees in Canada, according to Statistics Canada's classification system, are workers for gas, electricity, water, and other utilities, on average, counting blue-collar repairmen and truck drivers, as well as white-collar managers and secretaries. The highly regulated utility sector compensates its employees with an average wage exceeding $40 an hour. So how many of you in the private sector are making that? I mean, other than when in the oil fields long before the big crash, right? You might have had some of that out in the oil fields, but for the rest gains, $40 an hour, that's a pipe fucking dream, right? In contrast, the worst remunerated are those sectors that are least regulated. The retail sector, where employees average under $17. Retail sector, where employees average under $17 per hour. Really? It's minimum wage, man. I don't mean, well, you talking about mid or upper level management, you might be up around there, but the average, the bulk of the workforce in the retail sector are fucking minimum wage. Where employees average under $17 an hour, and accommodation and food services, which receives just over $14 an hour. How to reduce the pay gap between regulated and unregulated sectors? Free market wages can't be raised by government decree to government levels. Exactly. Can't be done. Doing so would, by definition, eliminate the free market, whose profits are needed for taxes to support the overpayments of the government-protected class. To honor the equal pay principle, the government-protected class needs to draw down its numbers through smaller government, privatization of crown corporations, and deregulation. What's left of the public sector could then benchmark its salaries to private sector counterparts, so that a librarian, clerk, or electrician working for a government receives the same pay as his counterpart in the private sector. Ironically, the principle of equal pay for work of equal value is truly observed only in the free market precincts of the economy. Unlike the government sector, where often coddled employees receive equal pay for work of lesser value, where they receive higher pay on the basis of seniority, and where positions are routinely handed out as rewards on the basis of political patronage, remuneration in the free market is based strictly on merit that comes of competition. So, like I say, well, I'm going to read a little bit more because, yeah, this is a great article. So I'm just going to read a little bit more on this. Take the retail sector, which represents 11% of all workers. Because customers expect excellent service from the retailers who offer them goods and services, and because they can easily take their business elsewhere if retailers don't deliver, employees who don't perform are left behind, either dismissed or paid less when their work is perceived to have less value. This is the atomized free market. Employers have numerous applicants to choose from, and employees have numerous employees to work for. The result of a system where pay raises and promotions are based on the merit of the employees, and where businesses routinely go bankrupt when their staff fails to perform, is higher pay for work of higher value, lower pay for work of lower value, no pay for work of no value. The equal pay principle can't apply where an employee is secure regardless of his performance, which is big government. Income inequality comes in forms other than the equal pay principle, such as in the 1% meme, and it extends beyond industries formally regulated by government, but not far beyond. The many sectors in thrall of government, those that contract to government, lobby government, and receive subsidies from government, are very much home to the 1%. Exactly. Income equality is inevitable. Some people are more capable, some harder working, some luckier, some more willing to take risks, and they reap the rewards that can result. But much of the inequality and much of its greatest successes come not of talent or luck, but of government machination. That too is inevitable. So like they're saying, and this, like I say, beautiful job, well done. Once again, I'm going to post a link to this article in the description of the video below and mention Lawrence Solomon once again out of the Financial Post, because like I say, when I see these people that are putting forth this kind of narrative, this kind of dialogue, this is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of information that Canadians need to learn and understand. And I wish this was the kind of information that was put forth and presented to them on a regular daily basis, like the kind of propaganda that the collectivists, the parasites, the government class, the ruling class put forth, right? If you had just as much pushback from people such as Lawrence Solomon as you would from the progressives or the collectivists or the central planning types, right, then Canadians would know and understand that, yeah, now I understand, and they would reject the very pretense of growing government, right? If they were all about equality, which it seems that Canadians are predominantly, or most people in the world are all about equality, if you really care about people and you really care about true equality, then, you know, free markets is where actual, real equality takes place. Government is all about picking winners or losers. And the only ones that can become a winner, and when government's the one that gets to chooses, are those that will be loyal servants, subjects, or slaves to the ruling class. You can benefit from government in that aspect. But for those of us that are principled and are unwilling to sell our soul, to sacrifice our individuality and our personal responsibility, our personal accountability, and what we're trying to teach our own kids, our own offspring, we're not willing to go down that road. So we're always the ones that are being left at the bus, or at the back of the bus, even though we're the most hardest working. We're the ones that have built this fucking country. But we're the ones that are, like I say, being thrown to the back of the bus, overlooked and ignored, oppressed, and so many indignities and obstacles put and presented before us. We're the ones that are being greatly oppressed. And like I say, it's really hard for us to inspire future generations to do the right thing, to be morally principled and economically principled, when it looks like, hey, if we follow what people like Bennett say, we're going to be treated like garbage. if we do what government tells us, we're going to be rewarded and benefit from that as such. So like I say, that's that race to the bottom. And yeah, you will benefit, but it's that short-term gain for a long-term pain. You might not suffer actually, I think you will. Even those of you that will benefit in the short run, you'll still have to suffer the long-run pain too. Might not have to as much as those of us in the private sector, but that's basically admitting that you're willing to throw those of us that have worked hard to build this country to what it is. You're willing to stand on our shoulders. And not just stand on our shoulders, I guess you're willing to even put spikes on the bottom of your shoes while you're standing on our shoulders and do so. Yeah, we don't appreciate that. We sure as fuck don't respect you. It's Canadian Libertarian. I love liberty.